What's the difference between wild thing, rockstar, flip dog? I hear all of these pose names thrown around. I think they're referring to the same pose, but I'm not sure. And I'm also not really sure how I'm supposed to do this pose. This is what we're gonna get into in today's video. I practiced yoga in Los Angeles for many years with teachers that came from all over the United States. And I would be in downward dog with my leg up in the air like, hey, what's up? And all of a sudden the teacher would go, flip your dog. And next thing you know, I'm like, huh? How do you, what's it, I'm looking for somebody to show me how to flip my dog. But instructions never came. Or they would come here and go, okay, now wild thing. And you're like, is that the same as flip dog? How many different ways can we flip things from here? Okay, so first thing you need to understand is different parts of the world and different parts of the country, I'm talking about the US, call similar poses different names. Why? I don't know. It's the etymology, right? Why do different words have different meanings in different languages and different places? It just is what it is. So the first thing we want to know is, what is the name of this pose, first of all, in Sanskrit? Yeah? In Sanskrit, this is Chamatkarasana. In English, it is called wild thing, primarily in the west coast of the United States. On the east coast of the United States, you might have heard it called Rockstar pose. Same. Okay? Now, flip dog, the way I understand it, by the way, if you have a different understanding of this, put it in the comments, we'll have a conversation. Flip dog, to my understanding, is kind of flipping your down dog over. So you take your leg up and you're actually flipping both feet flat and lifting both hips and having this kind of reverse bridge or almost wheel kind of setup. Okay, so we're going to talk about both, how to do both, and how to modify if your wrists are hurting or if there's something going on in your body that doesn't allow you to do this. Okay, so Chamatkarasana, also known as wild thing, also known as rockstar, depending on where you're from, is essentially side plank with a back bend. Okay, so we typically come into it from down dog, but I'll show you how to come into it from somewhere else as well. So from a three-legged dog, you're going to shift your shoulders forward over your wrists. You can spin to the outside edge of your bottom foot, the same exact way as you would in side plank, and then you're going to tap your back toes, or your top toes, I should say, behind you. Okay, so right now I'm in side plank in the whole left side of my body. My bottom arm is externally rotated. I have the elbow pointing forward. I've got my bottom ribs lifting up. Now I'm going to start to turn this into a back bend. I'm going to begin to pull my chest and rotate it to the ceiling. Yeah? Then I want to engage my glutes. Squeeze the butt to lift the hips. The glutes are the muscles of the hip extension. That's what gets your hips to go up. So squeeze that ass. Open up across the chest and then take the arm overhead. Typically we have external rotation in the top arm. So you're going to turn your palm to face behind you like you're trying to high five someone behind you. Yeah? And then breathe. A fun way to make wild thing a little bit more challenging, if you want to, totally optional, is to actually hover your top foot off the floor. So check this out. I would come from down dog, bend the knee, open the hip. This is where I would begin my journey towards the side plank, right? Same, spin onto the outside of the foot. But this time, instead of putting this foot on the floor, I'm gonna start to find my back bend, reach my top arm overhead, and then contract the hamstrings of that lifted leg, pulling them in towards my butt. Ooh, that gives you a hamstring cramp right there. But how cool is this little ditty? And then from here, whoop, you can lift your knee and go to wherever you are heading next. Yeah? So fun little way to take it up a notch if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more. Now, if you're like, okay, Nat, that sounds great, but that's heavy, that's hard. I would agree with you. It's heavy and it's hard. First of all, anytime you have your hands on the ground, grip your fingertips like crazy. This one puts a lot of pressure in the heel of your hand because you saw what it looked like. So really grip those fingers and imagine like you're sucking energy up and out of the floor. That's gonna help get out of your wrist. So great, sounds awesome. But how do I modify this, okay? Coming into all fours, okay? If the teacher's cueing, Wild thing, and you're like, oh, not today, Captain, okay? You can lower down onto a knee, yeah? Take these toes and uncurl them. Your top foot, you're gonna step it behind you and then lift your hips. And it's the same thing. You just got your bottom knee down, yeah? So it's basically the same thing as modified side plank, only you're doing the fancy leg behind you. Okay, there's absolutely nothing wrong with being like, yep, she called or he called wild thing. I'm just gonna put my little knee on the ground, untuck those tootsies, and take my back bend, okay? So that's always an option for you. Now let's talk about flip dog. I'm not gonna lie to you. Flip dog has never been broken down in any yoga class I have ever taken. And I'm actually not entirely sure if it's a real pose or if it's just a bastardized pose that we sort of created out of nowhere because it's never broken down and never taught. But I now see it often enough that we can consider that it's an actual pose. And let's look at how it works, okay? So flip dog, it's essentially take your down dog and flip it over, which is not really the same because down dog, you're in a triangle shape, and I don't know about you, but I can't do that shape backwards, okay? I can't get my crotch up in the air and my body in a triangle going in the other direction, but we can try. We can do our best. Yeah, so for flip dog, this is a nice transition to do if you're heading to wheel pose from down dog. I'm not going to demo it for you right now because I'm in a very tight body and I would need 3 hours of warm up in order to do that, but I'll talk you through it. Yeah, so flip dog, essentially you're taking the leg up, same start as your wild thing, right? But instead of coming to side plank, you're going to drop this foot behind you, flip both feet over so that they point to the back of your mat. Notice how my hips are down, and then I'm gonna press into my feet to lift my hips and send this arm overhead. If I wanted to take this into wheel pose, I would bring my other hand down. I would also need to turn these fingers a little bit, yeah? But this is where we would head towards your wheel. Like I said, I'm not doing that right now, okay? And then come back the same way you came in. So 2 completely different shapes. Similar concept, you're flipping your front body up the other way, but slightly different ways in and slightly different reasons why we might want to use them. So typically, inhale, 3-legged dog, exhale, wild thing. Now you know you're going to side plank. You're tapping your toes behind you and you're lifting your hips. Flip dog, you're placing both feet flat on the floor and sending those hips high. If you enjoy breakdowns like these where we take some time to talk about the nitty-gritty of what's happening in the pose, I love to do this. I do this all the time. You're gonna really love my no bullshit yoga pose library. Check out the link in the description below. I cover 90 yoga poses just like this in detail, how to practice it, how to modify it, and I hope to see you there. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.